bring to the stage the two men that never feared the last day of the world. Welcome Rick and Jeff back to our stage,
everybody. Ignorance is bliss. Good evening, welcome, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm Jeff Jower, this is Rick Levine.
I'm Rick Levine, this is Jeff Jower.
And for those of you who are new to our astrology nights here at Soul Food, Rick and I are going to spend the bulk of the evening talking about the collective astrological patterns for the year ahead. This is what we call the cosmic weather that rains on all of us. Some of us like the rain, some of us don't. But we're going to give you the big overview, and after doing that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll look at 3 individual charts, little 5-minute mini readings, just to give you an example of what personalized astrology looks like. We have a, you want to say something?
No,
Rick and I have an event coming up we're very proud of. We go to Brighton Bush Hot Springs in January every year. That's in Oregon. It's about an hour east of Salem, Oregon. It's an amazing, intentional community, off the grid, great food, and we are doing
And hot
tubs all over the place. From January the 11th through the 13th, we'll be at Brighton Bush.
That's not this weekend, that's next weekend.
Right, so it's pretty close, but there still are a couple of spots left. If you're interested to learn more about it or want to share this information with somebody who would be interested, go to the front page of our website, stariq.com, click on the link there, or pick up one of the Brighton Bush programs, whether you're coming for us or not. Pick up a Brighton Bush program and learn about this incredible place.
It's an awesome spot, and everyone in the Northwest who goes there realizes that it's a treasure. And although Jeff said a little bit about it, basically what the bulk of the weekend is, aside from talking about the overview of the year, as Jeff talked about, we look at the chart of each and every participant. There's usually about 20 of us in that range, but the weekend becomes a process of everyone in the group kind of going through their chart with everyone learning and talking about it, and it's quite a magical weekend process. It's from a Friday afternoon, it actually starts Friday evening and ends Sunday midday, so that you can be home back in Seattle Sunday night and back to your class or job on Monday morning.
All right, welcome again, and yes, the world did not end on December 21st, 2012. We're here, the astrologers expected us to be here. What we do hope is perhaps that your world is changing in desirable ways. And certainly as we look into the planetary patterns for this month, which starts as every January does with the sun in authoritative Capricorn, it is a good time of the year to take charge of your life, to get a little discipline, to get organized, and make this year work for you.
And even though our focus tonight is on the month ahead, just taking, since it is the beginning of a new year, for those of you who have come here often over the last year, you know that last year began a process of an outer planet alignment between revolutionary, freedom-loving Uranus and deep, intense, passionate, powerful underworld Pluto. And the connection, the square between these two planets last year that was connected with the Fukushima earthquake meltdown, the Arab Spring, the Occupy everything, and the election, the craziness of the election, and so much other stuff that's going on now, even as we stand momentarily saved from jumping off the imaginary financial cliff, whatever that is. But the point is that this year, we have 2 more visitations from this exact square, and even though it's not exact, again, until March of this year, the fact is that the energy is still hanging around. It was with us through the, through the holiday season, and it sits as a kind of an undertone or an undernote to pretty much everything else that goes on this year.
Yeah, absolutely. The basic rule in astrology is that slow-moving big cycles trump fast-moving little cycles. meaning that, for example, the moon will do every possible thing it can do astrologically in the course of a given month. The sun will do it in the course of a given year. But as Rick has laid out, what we are in is we're in year 2 of the 60s, part 2. The revolutionary cycles that began in the 1960s when transformational Uranus and Pluto were joined together have come to the next stage, the first quarter square. And that means that we're going to continue to see institutions shifting and changing on and off this year and over the next couple of years. And I know that those of you who are regulars here have heard us talk about this, but I think perhaps the most important thing is to recognize, as we've often mentioned, that each one of us is an agent for change. I voted for Obama, but I ain't waiting for Obama to do anything that I can't or won't do myself. And that's not just a personal opinion about a particular individual. It is, I think, a way to live out the astrological prescription of Uranus, the planet of freedom, in Aries, the planet of the individual. Freeing yourself and discovering new and different aspects of yourself is the greatest contribution that you can make, not only for perhaps saving humanity, but bringing us to the next stage of awareness.
Am I supposed to say something now?
Usually. That follows is silence.
Well, for those of us who have survived the end of the world as we know it, we're now standing at the beginning of the next world as we get to co-create it or make it. And I think it's, as Jeff said, the new year always begins with the sun in Capricorn. Capricorn, the sign of the mountain goat climbing to the tallest mountain. Remember, mountain goats are the mammals that live at the highest altitude of any mammal. It also is the sea goat or the dolphin that lives at the lowest levels in the of altitude of any mammal. So Capricorn needs to find a way to go to the distance, to reach the heights or the depths, because Capricorn is about hierarchy. It's about ambition of getting a position in the real world, structure being a key Capricorn word. And it's interesting that for many centuries, the new year was celebrated either at the fall equinox, as the Hebrew calendars do, or at the spring equinox, as the Arabic calendars do. And it was only the structure of the Roman Church that moved the celebration of the new year, actually not until the 1500s, as surprising as that is, to January 1st. Capricorn is about order. It's about structure, it's about stability, and it's about knowing where it is we are so that we know where we're going to go with a plan that will get us to the top of the mountain. And that's what New Year's resolutions are all about. We stand at the beginning of the year ready to make this year into something.
Well put. Capricorn is about slowing down and about having a goal and aiming for that goal. However, as we begin the year, it's not that simple to stay on track.
It never is.
Well, right, it almost never is. You're absolutely right. But tomorrow, for example, Mercury, the planet of communication, makes a right angle with Uranus, the planet of weird, strange, out of the box. The good news of a Mercury-Uranus square are fresh ideas, innovative ideas, unconventional thinking. And the challenging side is, how do you take strange ideas that are out of the box and build on them? Put them into the Capricorn world of ambition and practicality and organization. So I think if you haven't had your feet hit the ground yet, or have found yourself ready to sort of get down with it and have the discipline that you'd like, that's certainly one reason why there is some delay.
And although this is something that is happening right now over the next couple of days, Mercury is a fast-moving planet, but over the last weeks, the Sun, and over the next weeks, Venus will come through that same position, and it's really all reinforcing this background event that we talked about earlier of Pluto up here squaring Uranus. Each of these faster moving planets, like Jeff said earlier, when a faster moving planet trips up or resonates with a slower moving cycle, it re-emphasizes issues that keep coming back, they keep deepening, they keep intensifying. And right now with Mercury there, the intensification is mental, because Mercury is the planet of communication, of words, of thinking, of interactive communication.
Yeah, and although clearly we can describe some problems, crazy thinking, breakdowns in communication with Mercury square electrifying Uranus, and then when Mercury joins Pluto, which happens on the 6th, Mercury joins Pluto a little bit earlier. I can't even find the date here. See, these are confusing times.
On the 5th, 6th. Mercury.
The point is this, however. Mercury...
On the 6th.
On the 6th. Mercury, the messenger of the gods, the planet associated with the mechanical aspects of mind, is running the gauntlet of Uranian weirdness and Plutonian intensity. So the negative side of that can be that maybe you have some wild and crazy idea, and then you can't find the resources to make it real. Or maybe you've been shocked, and you take that shock, Mercury, Uranus, and you go to
Uranus,
a place...
the planet of lightning or shock or surprise.
Absolutely, right. So, and you can take that to Pluto's deep, dark underworld of despair. And Venus, as Rick pointed out, the planet of love, is going to follow that same pattern. But here's how we can use it positively. If indeed our collective challenge is to discover something new in ourselves, and then put in the effort to find the resources and the resourcefulness in ourselves to take that new thing and institutionalize it, make it real, what we're getting are scouts going out now. Mercury is a scout that's showing us weird and the cost of making weird real. And Venus is going to do that again. So even though it's one of those things in life where sometimes the things that are difficult and crazy are actually good training. So that if you do get a little skitsy, if you do go off the deep end, the point is not necessarily that you're lost. Maybe you're breaking ground for the rest of us, and just because you're the first one through the forest, through the thicket, you get every thorn that's along the way.
So if you look up at the chart here on the board, you can see that Mercury on the 3rd and 4th is squaring Uranus, and then Mercury joins up and it moves past Pluto by the 6th, and then on the 12th, Venus comes into position where it then begins squaring Uranus, and then by the 16th it is conjuncting Pluto. And I only showed it to you in this rhythm so that we can get a sense of how much the background note of January really in some ways was set up the end of December, when the Sun was actually doing that same, running the same gauntlet as Jeff referred to it, and then followed by mental Mercury, and then when Venus comes in mid-month, it's more somaticized, because Venus is more, rather than a head trip, rather than just thoughts, Venus is more about our senses. We think of Venus as the planet of love, and it certainly is how we're attracted to things that we like or people that we love. But Venus is also about how we're attracted to anything that has matter, that has substance, that's material. And so I think that we'll see this energy deepening through January as Venus replaces Mercury in this pattern.